The gap in education participation is slowly closing, but new information suggests the increased participation is not translating into full-time employment. The findings were released today in two separate reports launched by Professor Mick Dodson. The research was commissioned by Reconciliation Australia and the Dusseldorp Skills Forum. Dusseldorp's Wrightson says positive progress is underway. Our political reporter Chris Munro spoke with Ms Wrightson earlier today.
There were some significant improvements, and those improvements are generally happening in schools. There's been increased participation for young Indigenous people in schools. However, that hasn't translated yet into the post-school outcomes and into jobs. However, the successes there, I think, are helping to lay the foundation for improvements for post-school outcomes in the future.
Right, but were these slight improvements, I suppose you could call them, keeping up with society-wide improvements on a whole? Or?
There is still a significant gap between Indigenous and non-Indigenous people's participation in education and work. For Indigenous teenagers, the gap is closing, but at the current rate, it will take about 50 years. For Indigenous people in their 20s, the gap is in fact widening. But the point with this, the reports, is that it's allowing us to benchmark where we are now and to move forward from that. And within the reports, there are a lot of really good examples of initiatives and approaches that are having success around the place, and the reports highlight the key principles underpinning that.
Chris, can you tell us why you think the flow-on effect isn't happening here with Indigenous education? I mean, there's students obviously graduating but not going on to higher education and work. Why do you think that is?
I think it's a slow process and it takes time, and it's taken us many years to get to this point, and now we need to consolidate the successes we've had and help that cohort of teenagers now move through into further education and work. There are many families and communities who they haven't had a single person finish Year 12. So I think if we're all working together, the government, community, the young people, their parents, and we can help make that happen. As long as we have the funding mechanisms in place and the place-based solutions and programs that are adapted to local communities, then I think that can be achieved.
Do you think, I mean, are you happy with the government's commitment to Aboriginal education? It's been fairly strong thus far in their first term. Yeah, are you happy with the way things are going?
I think there have been, there's definitely been some good things happen, but there's definitely room for more. In particular, things like the removal of CDP from remote and very remote communities, as it's touched on in the report, is going to have a significant impact on Indigenous employment in those remote areas unless it's replaced with effective programs. It's something else that was highlighted is that one of the biggest gaps is in university participation, and that gap has widened significantly, and it may be worth reconsidering the cuts that were made to AB study under the previous government. We need to look at what those incentives and what those initiatives are that work, and the knowledge is out there, as Mick Dodson said at the launch of the reports this morning. The knowledge is out there of what to do. We just need to make it happen.
So I suppose it's a matter of if it's not broke, don't fix it in terms of programs.
Absolutely, absolutely. We need to. There's a whole diverse range of programs out there that are having real success, and we need to learn from them. And it's not then rolling it out across the country, one size fits all. It's adapting it to local, taking those key principles and adapting them at a local level and engaging the community. And it takes time. But I think there is enough passion and need and knowledge to do that.
Chris, thanks for your time tonight.
No problem. Thanks, Chris.